My name is Daniel Carter, and I'm from Denver, Colorado. I never thought I'd be the kind of man sitting down to tell this story, but here I am, staring at my past choices and the wreckage they caused. My marriage to Emily was supposed to be forever. We built a life together, shared dreams, and made promises under God and in front of everyone we loved. But promises, as I later learned, only matter if both people intend to keep them. Emily and I met in college at a mutual friend's barbecue in Boulder. She was charming, witty, and had this way of lighting up a room. I was instantly drawn to her confidence. We talked all night about everything: music, our families, our goals, and it felt like we had known each other for years. A year later, I proposed on a snowy evening near Red Rocks Amphitheater, and she cried as she said yes. The early years of our marriage were blissful. We worked hard, saved money, and bought a modest but cozy home in Denver. I worked as a project manager in construction, and Emily was a nurse at a local hospital. We weren't rich, but we had enough, and for a while, we had love. But somewhere down the line, things began to change. At first, it was subtle. Emily started staying late at work more often. She brushed it off, saying the hospital was short-staffed. She seemed distracted at home, glued to her phone, laughing at messages I wasn't part of. I'd ask who she was talking to, and she'd snap, saying I was being controlling. I wanted to trust her. I did trust her. She was my wife, the woman I had promised my life to. But the distance between us grew. Our conversations became short, our laughter faded, and our connection began slipping through my fingers like sand. One night, when I tried to reach out and hold her, she pulled away. "Daniel, I'm tired," she said. I nodded, respecting her space, but inside, it cut deep. Rejection from the person you love feels like rejection of your very soul. Weeks later, the same thing happened. And again. And again. Finally, one night, I confronted her gently. "Emily, is something wrong? You don't talk to me anymore, and you don't want to be close. Did I do something?" She sighed, rolled her eyes, and muttered the words that would echo in my head forever. "I don't owe you intimacy." I just sat there stunned. I wasn't demanding anything from her. I just wanted to feel like her husband again, like her partner. But her words weren't just defensive, they were cold. And in that moment, something inside me cracked. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just sat there in silence, staring at the woman I thought would stand beside me for life. Not long after, my worst fears were confirmed. I found out Emily was seeing someone else, a doctor from her hospital named Chris. The late nights at work, the constant texting, the excuses, it all made sense. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. "It just happened," she said, as if that somehow made it less of a betrayal. I remember standing in our kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator filling the silence as I stared at her. I asked her why. Why would she risk everything we built? Why would she step outside our vows? Her response was cold and dismissive. "Because you stopped making me feel alive. You were always working, always tired. I don't owe you anything, Daniel. Not intimacy, not an explanation." That was the nail in the coffin. I realized then that I didn't owe her a marriage. The very next day, I called a lawyer. Divorce was painful, messy, and expensive. But staying in a loveless, dishonest marriage would have cost me something even greater: my peace, my dignity, my self-respect. Emily tried to guilt-trip me, saying I was overreacting, that all couples go through rough patches, that I should fight for us. But how could I fight for someone who already chose someone else? She cried, begged, and even accused me of being selfish. But I stayed firm. I signed the papers and walked away. The months after the divorce were brutal. I had to relearn how to live without her, how to cook for one, how to fall asleep in an empty bed. I went through anger, grief, and loneliness. I questioned myself endlessly. Was I not enough? Did I fail as a husband? But slowly, I began to heal. I poured my energy into my work, into the gym, and into reconnecting with friends I had drifted away from during my marriage. I started hiking again, finding peace in the Colorado mountains that had once been our favorite escape. The pain didn't vanish overnight, but with every sunrise, it lessened. I realized that Emily's choices were not a reflection of my worth, they were a reflection of hers. 1 year after the divorce, I ran into an old college friend, Sarah. She had always been kind and steady, the type of person you could count on. We started spending time together, slowly, cautiously. Unlike Emily, Sarah valued honesty, communication, and respect. She didn't play games. She didn't make me question my value. For the first time in years, I felt seen. I felt respected. I felt loved in a way that wasn't conditional. Looking back, I don't regret leaving Emily. I regret wasting so much time trying to hold on to someone who had already let go of me. Her words, "I don't owe you intimacy," were meant to shut me down, to push me away. But in the end, they freed me. They reminded me that I didn't owe her a marriage built on lies, betrayal, and indifference. Today, I stand stronger. My scars remind me of the battles I fought, but they also remind me that I survived. I learned that love should never feel like a debt or an obligation. Love should be mutual, nurturing, and safe. Emily once thought she was withholding something from me by refusing to be close, by choosing someone else. But what she really did was set me free. And I'll never forget the moment I realized it. I don't owe her a marriage.